Close your eyes now and let yourself settle into this quiet place. Feel your body sinking gently into the soft surface beneath you. Tonight we journey together to the banks of the ancient Nile, where time moves like honey and the river whispers secrets older than memory. Breathe slowly, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Let each breath carry away the weight of your day. Picture yourself standing beside the great river as evening falls. The sun has melted into golden pools along the horizon, and the first stars begin to appear like scattered diamonds on dark velvet. Palm fronds sway gently overhead, their leaves whispering soft lullabies in the warm desert breeze. The Nile flows beside you, wide and peaceful. Its surface catches the last light of day, rippling in gentle waves that seem to pulse with the rhythm of your own heartbeat. Small boats drift by, their wooden hulls dark against the shimmering water. Fishermen pull in their nets quietly, their just movements slow and ceremonial in the fading light. Let your shoulders drop. Feel the tension melting away like wax in candlelight. Along the riverbank, lotus flowers float in quiet pools. Their white and pink petals glow softly in the twilight, opening to welcome the night. The air carries their sweet fragrance, mixing with the earthy scent of river mud and the distant smoke of cooking fires from the villages beyond. In this peaceful place, two ancient spirits dwell. They are Isis and Osiris, guardians of the eternal cycles that bring comfort to all who seek rest. They do not rule with power or might, but with the gentle authority of the moon over tides, the patient wisdom of seasons that know when to bloom and when to sleep. Osiris is the steady presence in the fertile fields, the quiet abundance that flows with the river's rhythm. He brings the gift of grain that feeds, the promise that after every harvest comes another season of plenty. His spirit moves through the dates, palms, and barley fields, through the cool shadows where farmers rest. After their work is done, Isis is the keeper of light and healing, she who tends the oil lamps that burn through the darkest hours. Her gentle hands know the secrets of herbs that soothe, of words that comfort, of touch that mends what has been broken. She watches over sleepers, protecting their dreams and guiding them safely through the night. Feel your eyes grow heavy, like lotus petals closing at sunset. Together they embody the peaceful rhythm of day following night, of flood following drought, of rest following labor. Their story is not one of drama or conflict, but of patient cycles, of trust in the natural order that cradles all things in its endless, gentle turning. As darkness deepens over the Nile, temple bells begin to ring softly in the distance. This sound floats across the water like ripples, each note clear and pure. Priests in white linen robes move quietly through stone courtyards, lighting oil lamps that will burn through the night. The flames dance gently, casting warm pools of golden light on ancient walls covered with paintings of birds and flowers. Rest in the rhythm of your breath, in and out, like waves lapping gently against the shore. The villagers along the riverbank are preparing for sleep. Children who played by the water all day now lie on reed mats, listening to their mothers hum ancient melodies. Fishermen mend their nets by lamplight, their fingers moving in patterns passed down through generations. Farmers who worked in the fields wash their hands in the cool river water, then sit quietly on their doorsteps, watching stars appear one by one. This is a world where time moves differently, where urgency dissolves like salt in water. Here, every moment stretches long and peaceful, filled with the soft sounds of night settling over the land. Crickets chirp their evening songs. Date palms rustle whisper soft in the breeze. Somewhere in the distance, a night bird calls once, then falls silent. Imagine the Nile moving quietly by, carrying away all your worries, all your restless thoughts. You belong in this peaceful place, walking slowly along paths worn smooth by countless feet. The sand is still warm from the day's sun, soft between your toes. Above you, the sky deepens from purple to black, and the stars grow brighter, reflecting in the river like scattered coins. Here, Isis and Osiris move through their eternal dance of care and renewal. Their presence is felt in every gentle breeze, every lapping wave, every flicker of lamplight in temple windows. They are the comfort that comes with nightfall, the promise that dawn will always return, the assurance that you are held safely in the arms of something ancient and loving. Let the quiet carry you deeper into this restful place where time has no urgency and peace flows like the eternal river. A priestess emerges from one of the temples, carrying a small oil lamp. Her bare feet make no sound on the stone steps as she descends to the water's edge. She kneels gracefully, cupping river water in her hands, then touches it to her forehead in a gesture of reverence. The lamp's flame wavers slightly in the night breeze, casting dancing shadows on her serene face. She is one of many who serve in these riverside temples, tending the sacred flames, preparing offerings of bread and flowers, chanting prayers that rise like incense into the star-filled sky. Their voices blend together in harmonies that seem to emerge from the river itself, ancient melodies that speak of cycles within cycles, of rest that heals, of sleep that renews. Float like a leaf on calm water, letting the current carry you gently downstream. The temple courtyards are gardens of tranquility. Fountains bubble quietly, their water cascading over smooth stones worn silver by centuries of flow. Lotus ponds reflect the stars, their surfaces barely disturbed by the occasional fish that rises to kiss the air, then disappears again into the depths. Cats pad silently through the shadows, their eyes glowing briefly in the lamplight before they melt back into darkness. In the innermost sanctuaries, golden statues of Isis and Osiris stand in eternal embrace. Isis wears the horns of the cow goddess, cradling the solar disk between them like a mother holding the sun to her breast. Osiris stands wrapped in white burial cloth that gleams like moonlight, his hands crossed peacefully over his chest, holding the crook and flail that symbolize his gentle authority over growth and harvest. These are not distant gods demanding worship, but intimate presences as close as your own breathing, as familiar as the beating of your heart. They are the comfort you feel when you sink into soft pillows, the safety you know when darkness falls and rest beckons. Feel the earth holding you, solid and steady beneath your relaxing body. The night deepens, and the sounds of the river village grow softer. Lamps are extinguished one by one. Children's voices fade to whispers, then to silence. The last fisherman pulls his boat onto the sandy shore, covers it with woven mats, and walks quietly home to his sleeping family. But the river never sleeps. It flows on through the darkness, carrying moonlight on its surface, reflecting the slow wheel of stars overhead. It knows no hurry, this ancient water. It has flowed for millions of years, and it will flow for millions more, patient and eternal, the liquid backbone of the land of Egypt. On its banks, in the gentle presence of Isis and Osiris, you too can let go of urgency. You can release the need to rush or worry or plan. Here, in this timeless place, there is only the soft rhythm of water over stones, the whisper of night wind in palm leaves, the distant music of temple bells carried on air that tastes of lotus and warm sand. Let yourself sink deeper into this peace. Feel your muscles growing heavy, your thoughts becoming as slow and gentle as the river current. The night is warm and welcoming. The stars are steady companions, and somewhere in this soft darkness, Isis and Osiris keep their eternal watch, guardians of all who seek the blessing of restful sleep. In the gentle darkness beside the Nile, let yourself drift deeper into this ancient world. Feel your breathing slow and steady, matching the eternal pulse of the great river. Tonight, we turn our attention to Osiris, the the quiet guardian of abundance, whose spirit flows through every grain of sand, every drop of water, every breath of warm night air. Breathe slowly. Let each exhale carry you further into this peaceful realm. Osiris is not a god of thunder or lightning, but of the patient earth that receives seed and transforms it into sustenance. He is the gentle rhythm that governs all growing things, the steady heartbeat of the fertile valley that stretches endlessly along both sides of the Nile. His presence can be felt in the soft lapping of water against papyrus reeds, in the whisper of barley stalks swaying in fields that stretch to the horizon. Picture yourself walking through these fields in the cool hour before dawn. The irrigation channels run straight and true, carrying life-giving water to every corner of the cultivated land. The sound is like a lullaby, water flowing over smooth stones, trickling through carefully tended gardens where onions and leeks grow in neat rows. Farmers rise early here, but without haste. They move with the measured pace of those who understand that the earth cannot be hurried, only tended with patience and care. An old man walks slowly between the barley rows, his weathered hands checking the grain heads that nod heavy with promise. His movements are a meditation, each step deliberate and peaceful. Let your shoulders drop. Feel the weight of the day dissolving like morning mist over the river. In a nearby field, a woman guides an ox-drawn plow through rich black soil. The wooden blade cuts a clean furrow, turning earth that smells of minerals and life. The ox moves steadily, its hooves leaving deep impressions in the soft ground. Behind them, children follow with baskets of seed, scattering grain with careful handfuls that catch the first rays of sunrise. This is the work that Osiris blesses, the quiet labor that feeds the world. He does not demand grand temples or elaborate ceremonies, though he receives both. His true worship lies in the patient tending of growing things, in the trust that what is planted will, in time, emerge from darkness into light. The sun climbs higher, painting the eastern sky in gentle pastels. Workers in the fields pause to drink from clay jars filled with cool water drawn from the river. They sit in the shade of date palms, sharing bread and speaking quietly of the season's progress. Their voices carry no urgency, only the satisfaction of work done well and the quiet anticipation of harvest time. Rest in the rhythm of your breath, steady as the flow of irrigation water through ancient channels. As the day grows warmer, the laborers retreat to their villages for the midday rest. The fields fall quiet, except for the gentle sounds of wind through grain and the distant splash of fish jumping in the river. This is the hour when Osiris's presence feels strongest, when the land itself seems to breathe deeply and settle into peaceful contemplation. In the villages, life moves at the same unhurried pace. Women grind grain in stone querns, the circular motion of their hands creating a rhythm that has remained unchanged for centuries. The sound is hypnotic, stone against stone, grain transforming into flour that will become bread for the evening meal. Children play quiet games in the shade, rolling clay balls or weaving small boats from a papyrus reeds. Their laughter is soft and musical, blending with the sounds of doves cooing in the date palms overhead. Even their play has the quality of ritual, the innocent reenactment of adult work performed with miniature tools and boundless imagination. Feel your eyes grow heavy, like grain heads bowing under the weight of ripeness. An elderly priest tends a small shrine at the edge of the village. The structure is simple, built of sun-dried brick and topped with a roof of woven palm fronds. Inside, a statue of Osiris stands in perpetual serenity, his features carved with the patient expression of one who has all the time in the world. The priest lights a small oil lamp, its flame casting dancing shadows on the shrine's walls. He places offerings of bread and beer before the statue, then kneels in silent prayer. His words are not urgent petitions, but grateful acknowledgments of the abundance that surrounds them all. Around the shrine, a small garden grows in neat rows. Lettuce and cucumbers flourish in the fertile soil. Grapevines climb wooden trellises, their leaves providing cool shade for anyone who wishes to rest. The priest waters each plant with care, murmuring blessings over the seedlings as if they were beloved children. Imagine the Nile moving quietly by, its ancient waters carrying the essence of life to every corner of the land. As afternoon slides into evening, the workers return to the fields for the final tasks of the day. The heat has gentled, and the light has taken on the golden quality that makes everything seem touched with magic. An irrigation worker opens a sluice gate, and water rushes into a dry channel with a sound like distant applause. The water spreads across a fallow field, transforming dust into mud, preparing the earth for the next planting. This is the magic that Osiris performs daily, the simple miracle of water meeting earth and creating the conditions for life. No drama is required, no thunder or lightning, only the patient application of the elements that have sustained this land since time began. Let the quiet carry you deeper into this world where abundance flows as naturally as the river itself. A young farmer stands knee-deep in his flooded field, transplanting rice shoots from a nursery bed. Each seedling is placed with care, Roots settle gently into the soft mud. His wife works beside him, her movements matching his imperfect rhythm. They speak little, understanding each other through years of shared labor and mutual devotion to the land. Their children sit on the field's raised edge, watching the transplanting process with serious attention. They are learning not just the technique, but the meditation, the way this work connects them to something larger than themselves. In time, they too will know the satisfaction of seeing green shoots emerge from brown water, of watching the grain heads form and swell with the promise of harvest. The sun sinks lower, painting the western sky in shades of rose and gold. Temple bells ring softly across the valley, calling the faithful to evening prayers. But for the farmers, their work itself is prayer. Each planted seed an act of faith in Osiris's continuing providence. Float like a leaf on calm water, trusting in the current that carries all things to their proper destination. In a papyrus marsh at the river's edge, a family of farmers harvests the tall reeds that will become writing material for scribes and priests. They work in their small boat, cutting the stalks at water level with sharp bronze knives. The papyrus falls with soft splashes, and they gather it into neat bundles that will dry in the sun. Even this humble work carries dignity under Osiris's gentle authority. The papyrus will preserve sacred texts and love letters, legal documents, and poetry. From the marsh grass comes the medium for human thoughts to travel across time and space, connecting one generation to the next in an endless chain of communication. A fisherman casts his net in the deeper water, his movements practiced and economical. The net spreads in a perfect circle before settling onto the river's surface like a giant water lily. He waits patiently, reading the subtle signs that tell him when to draw in his catch. His is not the urgency of desperation, but the calm confidence of one who knows the river will provide. Feel the earth holding you, steady and eternal beneath your relaxing form. As twilight deepens, oil lamps begin to flicker in the village windows. Cooking fires send thin columns of smoke into the purple sky. The aroma of baking bread mingles with the green scent of the river and the dusty sweetness of grain fields. Families gather for the evening meal, sharing the day's bread with gratitude and quiet conversation. Children listen to their elders tell stories of good harvests and challenging seasons, of the ways their ancestors learned to work with the river's rhythms rather than against them. This is Osiris's greatest gift, not just the abundance of the harvest, but the peace that comes with understanding one's place in the eternal cycles, the knowledge that work done with patience and care will bear fruit in its proper season, the trust that what appears to die will return to life again, transformed and renewed. In the growing darkness, you can feel his presence like a gentle hand, supporting your back like solid ground beneath your feet. He offers not excitement, but something better. The deep satisfaction of belonging to something larger than yourself, of being part of the great turning wheel that brings seed, time, and harvest, sleep and waking in their perfect, unhurried sequence. Let yourself rest in this ancient rhythm, as steady and reliable as the Nile itself, as patient and generous as the earth that receives all seeds and transforms them into life. The night air grows softer as we turn our attention to Isis, the gentle guardian whose light never fails, whose healing touch mends all that is broken. In the temples and homes along the Nile, her presence glows like the steady flame of oil lamps that burn through the darkest hours, offering comfort to all who seek her care. Feel your eyes grow heavy, like someone drawing warm blankets over your tired soul. Picture yourself entering one of her sacred places, a small temple nestled between date palms where the river bends in a graceful curve. The entrance is marked by two simple columns, their stone surfaces worn smooth by countless hands. Lotus flowers carved into the doorway seem to bloom in the flickering light of the oil lamps that burn eternally within. Inside, the air is fragrant with myrrh and frankincense, with dried herbs hanging in neat bundles from wooden rafters. A priestess moves quietly through the chambers, tending the sacred flames with patient devotion. Her bare feet make no sound on the polished stone floor as she checks each lamp, adding oil where needed, trimming wicks to ensure the light burns clear and steady. This is Isis in human form, her spirit working through mortal hands to bring comfort and healing to those who need it most. She does not announce herself with fanfare, but works quietly in the shadows. Her presence felt in every act of gentle care, every word of comfort whispered to ease pain or fear. Breathe slowly. Let the fragrant temple air fill your lungs with peace and healing. In the temple's herb garden, another priestess kneels among rows of medicinal plants. Her hands move knowingly among the leaves and stems, selecting those that are perfect for harvesting. Chamomile for soothing troubled sleep, mint for calming upset stomachs, willow bark for easing pain. Each plant is gathered with reverence and gratitude, as if it were a precious gift rather than a simple weed. The harvested herbs are laid out on woven mats to dry in the warm Egyptian sun. Later, they will be ground into powders, steeped into healing teas, or mixed with oils and resins to create salves that can mend cuts and soothe burns. In every preparation, the priestesses whisper prayers to Isis, asking her to bless their work and multiply its healing power. This This is ancient medicine, practiced with love rather than urgency, with faith in the body's natural wisdom to heal itself when given the proper support. The priestesses understand that healing cannot be rushed, any more than a flower can be forced to bloom before its time. Rest in the rhythm of your breath, feeling your body's own natural healing beginning to flow. A young woman enters the temple, carrying a sick child in her arms. The baby's fever has broken, but he is weak and restless, unable to sleep peacefully. The priestess greets them with a gentle smile, leading them to a quiet alcove where soft cushions are arranged in a circle around a small fountain. The priestess prepares a tea from dried chamomile and honey, brewing it with water drawn from the sacred well that connects to the Nile itself. As the child drinks the sweet, soothing liquid, the priestess begins to hum an ancient melody, her voice blending with the soft splash of the fountain. The lullaby tells of Isis's love for all children, how she protects them through the night and watches over their dreams. The young mother's eyes fill with tears of gratitude as her child's breathing grows deeper and more regular. Soon the baby is sleeping peacefully in her arms, his small fist curled around the priestess's finger. Imagine the Nile moving quietly by, carrying healing on its gentle current, washing away all pain and worry. In another part of the temple, an elderly priest teaches young apprentices the sacred art of memory keeping. They sit in a circle on the floor, their backs straight but relaxed, their eyes closed in concentration. The priest's voice is barely above a whisper as he guides them through the ancient techniques for preserving important knowledge. Memory, he tells them, is Isis's special gift to humanity. Through memory, we carry our loved ones with us always. Through memory, we preserve the wisdom of our ancestors. Through memory, we remain connected to all that has shaped us and made us who we are. The students practice reciting genealogies, medical formulas, and sacred stories. But this is not rote memorization. Each piece of knowledge is woven into a tapestry of meaning connected to personal experiences and emotional truths that make it impossible to forget. Let the quiet carry you into the deep well of your own cherished memories, where love lives eternal. As the night deepens, families throughout the river valley prepare for sleep. In humble mud brick homes, mothers perform their own rituals of care and protection. They check on sleeping children, pulling light blankets up to small chins, whispering prayers to Isis for peaceful dreams and restful slumber. Oil lamps burn low on wooden shelves, casting dancing shadows on painted walls. The flames are small but steady, like Isis's own presence in these simple homes. They will burn through the night, ensuring that no one wakes to complete darkness, that comfort is always within reach. A grandmother sits beside her granddaughter's sleeping mat, gently stroking the child's dark hair. She hums the same lullaby her own mother sang to her decades ago, the melody carrying across generations like a golden thread that connects past to present to future. The lullaby speaks of Isis's wings, how they shelter all who rest beneath them. It tells of her tears, which became the floods that bring life to the desert. It promises that her love surrounds every sleeping child like invisible armor, protecting them from nightmares and fear. Float like a leaf on calm water, held safely in the current of ancient love that flows through all generations. In the temple workshop, a master craftsman works by lamplight, creating a small amulet that will protect its wearer from illness and harm. His fingers are old but still nimble as he shapes the gold into the image of Isis, her arms outstretched in eternal blessing. Each detail is carved with meticulous care. The delicate feathers of her wings, the gentle curve of her smile, the lotus flower she holds as a symbol of rebirth and renewal. When the amulet is complete, it will be blessed in a special ceremony and worn close to the heart, a tangible reminder of the goddess's protective presence. The craftsman works without hurry, understanding that objects made with love and reverence carry a power that transcends their physical form. In his hands, simple gold becomes a vessel for faith, a connection between the human and divine that can be touched and treasured. Feel the earth holding you, steady and secure beneath your resting body, like a loving mother cradling her child. In the temple's inner sanctuary, the high priestess performs the evening ritual of tending Isis's sacred flame. This fire has burned for generations, tended by an unbroken line of devoted servants who understand their role as keepers of the light. The flame is more than mere fire. It represents the eternal spark of life that burns within every living thing, the consciousness that connects all beings in an invisible web of love and understanding. As the priestess adds fresh oil to keep it burning bright, she offers prayers for all who suffer, all who mourn, all who struggle with pain or loneliness. Her prayers are not dramatic petitions, but gentle conversations, as if she were speaking to a beloved friend who always listens with infinite patience and understanding. She asks Isis to comfort the grieving, to heal the sick, to watch over children and elders, to bring peace to troubled hearts. The sanctuary grows quiet except for shade, the soft crackling of the flame, and the distant sound of river water lapping against the temple's foundation stones. In this sacred space, time seems to slow and deepen, taking on the quality of honey mixed with starlight. Let Let yourself sink deeper into this place where healing flows like water, where love burns steady as an eternal flame. A healer enters the Osiris sanctuary carrying a bowl of river water that will be blessed for use in healing ceremonies. She kneels before the statue of Isis, holding the bowl up toward the flame as she whispers ancient words of consecration. The water catches a firelight, sparkling like liquid diamonds in the ceramic vessel. Soon it will be used to cleanse wounds, to cool fevers, to perform the ritual washings that prepare the body for healing. But first it must be transformed from simple river water into something sacred through the power of intention and prayer. The healer's voice grows softer as her prayers deepen into meditation. Her breathing slows to match the rhythm of the flame's gentle flickering. Around her, the temple seems to breathe too, expanding and contracting like a living thing that exists to shelter and nurture all who enter seeking comfort. In this peaceful sanctuary, surrounded by the tools of healing and the ancient wisdom of generations, you can feel Isis's presence like a warm hand placed gently on your forehead. Her touch carries away tension and worry, replacing them with the deep peace that comes from knowing you are loved unconditionally, protected always, held safely in arms that will never let you fall. Rest in this knowledge, as certain as the rivers flow, as steady as the flame that burns eternal in her sacred sanctuary. Let her healing light fill every corner of your being, mending what is broken, soothing what is painful, restoring what has been lost. Sleep now in the shelter of her wings, trusting in her endless care, knowing that when you wake, her light will still be burning, ready to guide you through whatever the new day may bring. In the gentle rhythm of our Nile story, there comes a time when the light grows softer, when the familiar presence of abundance seems to withdraw, like the river during the dry season. This is not a time of violence or loss, but of patient waiting, of learning to trust in cycles that are larger than our understanding. Breathe slowly. Let yourself settle deeper into this ancient wisdom of seasons and patience. Picture the river valley during the months when the Nile runs low between its banks. The water still flows, clear and steady, but the great floods that bring rich silt to the fields are yet to come. Farmers tend their remaining green patches with extra care, drawing water from wells and irrigation channels, making every drop count. This is the season when Osiris's presence seems distant, not gone, but sleeping deep beneath the earth, like seeds that wait in darkness for the proper time to sprout. The fields show their bones now, the underlying structure that is usually hidden beneath abundance. There is beauty in this clarity, this honest revelation of what lies beneath. In the temples, the priests speak of this time as necessary, as sacred in its own way as the seasons of plenty. They light extra lamps during evening prayers, their flames flickering like stars reflected in the low water. The light seems more precious now, more consciously tended, as if each flame were a prayer made visible. Let your shoulders drop. Feel yourself releasing any need to hold tightly to what must naturally ebb and flow. Isis walks more often through the villages during this season, her spirit moving through the women who tend sick children with extra patience, through the grandmothers who tell longer stories to ease the waiting, through the healers who work more carefully with their dwindling supplies of herbs. In one small house, a family gathers around their simple meal of bread and fish. The portions are smaller than during the time of plenty, but they eat with gratitude and share stories that nourish the spirit. The mother hums softly as she serves, her melody carrying the promise that abundance will return, that this quiet time serves a purpose they may not fully understand. A young girl asks her grandfather why the river grows small, why the familiar green of the fields has turned to brown. He lifts her onto his lap and points through the open doorway toward the stars that shine more brightly now in the clear, dry air. The river rests, he tells her gently, just as you rest at night so you can grow strong for tomorrow. The earth rests too, gathering its strength deep down where we cannot see. And Osiris rests, dreaming of the harvests that will come when the time is right. Rest in the rhythm of your breath, trusting in the wisdom of natural cycles, the necessity of quiet seasons. In the temple schools, the teachers use this time to share deeper lessons about patience and faith. Students sit in circles on woven mats, learning that some of life's most important gifts come only through waiting, only through the kind of trust that can endure uncertainty without losing hope. An old priest tells them the story of the lotus seed, how it can lie dormant in dry mud for years, seeming dead and forgotten, until the flood waters return, and it springs to life in a single night, more beautiful than ever. This is the mystery that Isis and Osiris teach us. He says softly that what appears to be ending is often just transformation in disguise. The students listen with the special attention that comes when words carry the weight of lived truth. They understand, even in their youth, that they are learning something that cannot be found in scrolls or memorized from texts. They are learning the art of trusting in invisible promises, of finding peace in the space between what was and what will be. Feel your eyes grow heavy, like lotus seeds resting in the mud, dreaming of their blooming. In the market squares, merchants adapt to the season's rhythm. They trade more carefully, sharing resources rather than competing. understanding that everyone's survival depends on community cooperation. A baker shares his grain with a potter, whose clay jars hold precious water. A fisherman gives part of his catch to a weaver whose cloth will protect against the season's cool nights. This is not charity, but wisdom, the recognition that in times of scarcity, generosity creates abundance of a different kind. The bonds between people grow stronger when they must rely on each other, when the easy plenty that can breed isolation is replaced by the necessity of mutual care. Children play different games during this season, quieter activities that require less energy but more imagination. They craft dolls from river reeds and tell stories about brave heroes who journeyed through difficult times to find treasure beyond imagining. Their play becomes a form of prayer, a practice of hope that keeps the spirit bright, even when the outer world seems diminished. Imagine the Nile moving quietly by, carrying the promise of renewal even in its smaller form, holding the seeds of future abundance in its steady flow. The artists and craftsmen use this time for different kinds of creation. A sculptor works more slowly on his statue of Isis, taking time to perfect each detail, understanding that hurried work lacks the soul that comes from patient devotion. His hands move meditatively over the stone, and each tap of his chisel is like a small prayer. A painter mixes her colors more carefully, using less pigment but achieving greater subtlety in her work. She creates frescoes that seem to glow with inner light, images of Isis and Osiris that radiate the deep peace that comes from accepting both joy and sorrow as necessary parts of the great cycle. In the temple workshops, priests spend longer hours copying sacred texts, their reed pens moving slowly across papyrus scrolls. The act of writing becomes a meditation, each hieroglyph formed with conscious attention to its meaning and power. They understand that preserving wisdom is as important as creating it, that memory is a sacred trust passed from hand to hand across generations. Let the quiet carry you into the deep well of patience, where trust grows stronger than fear. As the night falls earlier during this season, families gather sooner around their oil lamps. The conversations grow longer and more reflective, ranging over memories and hopes, questions and revelations that might not surface during busier times. Grandparents share stories of other lean seasons they have weathered, of the ways difficulty taught them lessons they could learn no other way. A grandmother tells her grandchildren about a year when the floods came very late, when people began to worry that they might not come at all. But your grandfather, she says, her voice warm with memory, he never stopped preparing the fields. Every day he would walk out to check the irrigation channels, to clear away debris, to make sure everything was ready when the water finally arrived. And did it come? Asks a sleepy child, already knowing the answer, but needing to hear it spoken. Oh yes, the grandmother smiles. It came like a miracle, more abundant than anyone remembered. And because your grandfather had prepared so carefully, our fields yielded more grain than ever before. That was the year you were born, she adds, touching the child's cheek gently. Float like a leaf on calm water, trusting in currents that carry you toward destinations you cannot yet see. In the temples, the evening prayers take on a different quality during this season. The priests sing older hymns, melodies that speak of endurance and faith, of the deep currents that flow beneath surface changes. Their voices blend in harmonies that seem to come from the earth itself, acknowledging both the difficulty of waiting and the certainty that all things move in their proper time. The oil lamps burn steadier during these longer nights, their flames reflected in the eyes of those who tend them. Each flame is a small defiance against darkness, a quiet assertion that light persists even when it cannot banish every shadow. The temple keepers understand that their work is more important now, that maintaining these beacons of hope requires extra devotion when hope itself is tested. A young priestess arranges flowers on Isis's altar, choosing each bloom carefully from the temple garden where plants still flourish thanks to careful tending and precious water drawn from deep wells. The flowers are smaller now, more delicate, but their beauty seems concentrated, like prayers distilled to their essence. She whispers gratitude for the flower's willingness to bloom despite the challenging season, for their reminder that beauty persists even when resources are scarce. In their delicate petals, she sees Isis's promise that grace can flourish anywhere, that love finds ways to express itself regardless of circumstances. Feel the earth holding you, steady and patient beneath your relaxing form, demonstrating the deep security that underlies all surface changes. This season of shadows teaches profound lessons to those who embrace rather than resist its gifts. It shows that security comes not from external abundance, but from internal trust, not from controlling outcomes, but from accepting the wisdom of natural timing. It reveals that love grows stronger when tested, that communities bond more deeply when they face challenges together. Most importantly, it demonstrates that separation is often preparation, that what seems like ending is frequently the necessary pause before a new beginning. Just as the river must retreat to its deeper channels before it can gather strength for the flood, just as seeds must rest in darkness before they can push toward light, sometimes souls must pass through seasons of quiet waiting before they can embrace their fullest blooming. In this gentle time of shadows, trust in the invisible preparations happening beneath the surface, Isis's love burns as bright as ever, even when its expression is more subtle. Know that Osiris's abundance is gathering strength in hidden places, preparing for a return more beautiful than anything that came before. As the season of shadows deepens, Isis begins a gentle pilgrimage along the great river, not in desperate search, but in loving remembrance. Her journey is like the slow progress of stars across the night sky, unhurried and filled with purpose that transcends ordinary understanding. Breathe slowly. Let yourself drift alongside her peaceful voyage, feeling the rhythm of oars dipping softly into dark water. Picture a simple boat made of papyrus reeds, its curved prow cutting silently through the river's gentle current. Isis sits in the center, her hands trailing in the cool water, her eyes reflecting the stars that shine more brightly during this quiet season. She is not alone on this journey. Faithful companions row steadily, their movements synchronized like a prayer made visible. The boat passes sleeping villages where oil lamps flicker in windows like earthbound stars. Night fishermen cast their nets from other vessels, their voices carrying softly across the water in ancient working songs. They nod respectfully as the goddess passes, understanding without words that they witness something sacred, a love so deep it transforms sorrow into pilgrimage. This is not a journey of frantic seeking, but of patient gathering, like collecting dewdrops at dawn or shells along a quiet shore. Isis travels to remember, to piece together the fragments of joy that remain even when abundance seems scattered to the winds. Let your shoulders drop. Feel the gentle rocking motion of the boat carrying you toward deeper understanding. At each bend in the river, the boat stops at small shrines built into the bank. These simple structures mark places where Osiris's presence once felt strongest, where his gifts of growth and plenty blessed the surrounding fields. Some are elaborate temples with carved columns, others merely a single stone painted with lotus flowers and sacred symbols. At one such shrine, Isis steps onto the muddy shore and kneels before a weathered statue of her beloved. The stone face, worn smooth by countless seasons, still shows traces of the gentle expression that once brought comfort to all who looked upon it. She places her hands on the worn stone, feeling the memory of warmth that lingers even in the cool night air. Local villagers gather quietly, drawn by something they cannot name but recognize in their hearts. They bring small offerings, a handful of grain, a cup of river water, a flower picked from their carefully tended gardens. Not from obligation, but from love, from the understanding that memory shared becomes stronger, that community forms around the act of collective remembrance. Rest in the rhythm of your breath. feeling how each exhale releases what no longer serves. Each inhale draws in peace and connection. An old woman approaches the shrine with slow, deliberate steps. Her gnarled hands hold a small clay lamp, its flame dancing in the night breeze. She has tended this shrine for decades, lighting lamps and sweeping away debris, maintaining this simple space as an act of devotion that requires no recognition or reward. I remember when the floods came highest, she tells Isis in a voice like rustling papyrus. The water rose so high it touched the shrine's threshold, and we feared it would wash away. But it held firm, just as the good things always do, when they're built on love rather than fear. Isis listens with the complete attention that only true compassion can provide. In the old woman's words, she hears not just personal memory, but the collective wisdom of the river people, their understanding that some things endure precisely because they're rooted in something deeper than circumstances. Feel your eyes grow heavy, like someone drawing a soft blanket of starlight over your peaceful form. The boat continues its gentle journey, stopping at a grove of date palms where Osiris once taught farmers the secrets of cultivation. The trees still stand, their fronds whispering secrets to the night wind. Some are old giants with trunks scarred by decades of growth, others young saplings planted by those who learned from their elders that gifts must be passed forward to remain alive. A group of farmers is gathered here despite the late hour. They sit in a circle beneath the largest tree, sharing stories of seasons past and wisdom learned through years of patient labor. Their voices are soft but clear, carrying the kind of authority that comes only from lived experience. He taught us that the earth has its own intelligence. One farmer says, his weathered hands gesturing toward the dark soil, that if we listen carefully, it will tell us when to plant, when to rest, when to trust in the unseen preparations happening below the surface. Another nod shakes, adding, and that patience is not waiting for something to happen, but understanding that everything is always happening, even when we cannot see the results. Imagine the Nile moving quietly by, carrying these fragments of wisdom like precious cargo toward some distant treasure house of memory. At another stop, the boat pulls alongside a small temple dedicated to the arts of healing. Here, Isis finds priestesses still working by lamplight, grinding herbs and preparing medicines with the same careful attention that has been practiced for generations. Their movements are meditative, each gesture infused with prayer and intention. The head priestess, a woman whose silver hair gleams in the flickering light, approaches with a small vial of oil infused with frankincense and myrrh. This was prepared according to the ancient formulas, She explains softly, the same blend that brought comfort to countless souls, the same recipe that carries forward the essence of all healing. She anoints Isis's forehead with the fragrant oil, and in that gentle touch, the goddess feels the presence of every healer who has ever offered comfort to the suffering, every mother who has soothed a crying child, every friend who has sat beside a sick bed through the long watches of the night. Let the quiet carry you into the deep well of compassion that connects all beings across time and space. The journey continues past sleeping reeds where papyrus grows in abundance, their tall stalks rustling like whispered conversations. Here, Isis remembers how Osiris delighted in the simple things, the way morning light caught dewdrops on grass, the sound of children's laughter echoing across water, the sight of grain heads heavy with promise swaying in gentle breezes. These memories are not painful, but precious, like jewels discovered in unexpected places. Each one adds to the growing collection she carries in her heart, proof that love once given never truly disappears, but transforms into something eternal and indestructible. A school of fish swims alongside the boat, their silver scales catching moonlight as they move in perfect formation beneath the surface. The sight brings another memory, how Osiris would stand waist deep in the river during the height of flood season, blessing the waters that would soon flow into irrigation channels, ensuring that every drop carried the intention of abundance and growth. Float like a leaf on calm water, carried by currents that understand their destination even when you cannot see it. At a riverside market that stands empty in the night, Isis recalls the sound of voices raised in friendly bargaining, the sight of abundance displayed in baskets, and jars, the generous spirit that made merchants competitors during the day and friends when evening fell. Even in this season of scarcity, the empty stalls hold the promise of return, the certainty that voices will fill this space again when the time is right. An old merchant appears from the shadows, carrying a single perfect lotus flower. "I saved this from my garden," he tells her quietly. "It's the last bloom of the season, but I knew it belonged here, in this moment, as an offering to the memory of better times and the promise of their return." The flower's petals glow like ivory in the starlight, and as Isis accepts the gift, she feels another piece of the greater picture settling into place. Not a literal fragment, but a spiritual essence, a recognition that beauty persists even when it seems most fragile, that gifts freely given multiply beyond counting. Feel the earth holding you, steady and eternal beneath the gentle motion of the boat supporting your journey into deeper rest. The boat passes through a narrow channel where lotus ponds stretch on either side, their dark leaves floating like plates for stars reflected in still water. Some flowers remain open despite the advanced hour, almost luminous in the darkness. Others have closed for the night, but their presence is felt in the sweet fragrance that drifts across the water. Here, Isis remembers teaching moments shared with Osiris, times when they would sit together among the lotus blooms and speak of the deep connections that bind all living things. How every flower that blooms feeds the bees that pollinate other plants. How every act of kindness creates ripples that travel far beyond their initial splash. Nothing is ever lost, she whispers to the night air, and the words seem to take on substance, floating like visible blessings over the water. What appears to end is only changing form, moving from one expression of love to another. The companions who row the boat smile at these words, feeling their truth settle into their bones like warmth from a perfect fire. They understand that they are witnesses to something larger than a simple journey, participants in a mystery that teaches through experience rather than explanation. Rest in the rhythm of your breath, feeling how each cycle of inhalation and exhalation mirrors the greater cycles of loss and recovery, separation and reunion. As dawn approaches, the boat reaches a sacred island in the middle of the river, a place where ancient sycamore trees grow in a perfect circle around a small clearing. This is the heart of the journey, the place where all the gathered memories and collected wisdoms come together into a single, shining understanding. Isis steps onto the sandy shore and walks slowly toward the center of the grove. With each step, she feels the presence of every soul who has ever loved deeply, everyone who has faced loss with courage, all who have chosen hope over despair when circumstances offered no logical reason for optimism. In the clearing center stands a simple altar made of river stones, worn smooth by countless seasons of flood and drought. Upon it, Isis places each memory she has gathered, not as physical objects, but as intentions, prayers, acknowledgments of the love that persists beyond all apparent endings. The sun begins to rise, painting the eastern sky in gentle pastels, and in that soft light, something extraordinary happens. The scattered memories begin to weave themselves together, forming a tapestry of understanding that reveals the true nature of love's persistence. What seemed lost was never gone, only transformed. What appeared scattered was always whole, simply expressing itself in forms too subtle for ordinary sight to perceive. The journey of remembrance becomes a journey of discovery, revealing that seeking with love always leads to finding, that patient gathering always yields abundance beyond imagining. As the gentle sunrise spreads its golden light across the sacred island, something shifts in the very fabric of the morning air. The memories Isis has gathered through her patient journey begin to shimmer and dance, weaving themselves into patterns that speak of return, of wholeness restored not through force, but through the quiet miracle of love's persistence. Breathe slowly. Feel the dawn light warming your face as the long night of waiting gives way to gentle renewal. The altar stones seem to glow with inner light as the collected memories settle into place. Each fragment of kindness remembered, each act of care witnessed, each moment of beauty preserved creates a foundation stronger than marble, more enduring than bronze. This is not magic in the sense of supernatural drama, but the deeper magic of recognition, of seeing what was always true but temporarily hidden. Osiris returns not with thunder or lightning, but like the river itself when the floods finally come. Gradually, naturally, inevitably, his presence fills the clearing like morning mist arising from warm water, like the scent of earth after rain, like the first green shoots that emerge when conditions are perfectly aligned for growth. The reunion is wordless, a recognition deeper than speech. Isis and Osiris embrace like old friends meeting after a long journey, like seasons greeting each other in their eternal dance, like two parts of a song that find harmony after silence. Let your shoulders drop. Feel the relief that comes when what belongs together is finally restored to its proper place. The companions who rode through the night watch with tears of joy as the divine couple stands together in the dawn light. They understand they are witnessing something both miraculous and completely natural, as inevitable as sunrise following the darkest hour before dawn. Around the island, the river begins to show signs of change. The water level rises almost imperceptibly, carrying fresh silt and nutrients from distant mountains. Fish swim closer to the surface, their silver forms creating ripples that catch the early light. Birds that had flown south during the lean season begin to return, their calls filling the air with music. But this renewal is not sudden or overwhelming. It comes gently, like a sleeping person gradually awakening, like a flower opening petal by petal to greet the day. There is time to savor each moment, to appreciate the subtle stages of transformation that lead from scarcity back to abundance. Rest in the rhythm of your breath, feeling your own body beginning to remember its natural capacity for healing and renewal. On the riverbanks, farmers who rose early to check their irrigation channels notice the water running fuller, clearer, carrying the promise of good harvests to come. They kneel by the water's edge, cupping the precious liquid in their hands, tasting the difference that hope makes when it flows through even the most practical elements. An old farmer calls to his neighbor, his voice carrying the quiet excitement of one who has lived through many seasons and recognizes the signs. The river dreams of flooding, he says, using the ancient phrase that means abundance is stirring in the depths, preparing to bless the land once more. Children notice tiny green shoots pushing up through mud that yesterday seemed barren. They point excitedly at each new discovery, their young eyes quick to spot the miracles that adults might miss in their focus on larger concerns. Feel your eyes grow heavy, like seeds stirring in warm earth, preparing to reach toward light. In the temples, the eternal flames seem to burn brighter without additional oil being added. Priests pause in their morning rituals, sensing the change that has nothing to do with wind or weather and everything to do with the restoration of balance that supports all life. The high priestess of Isis's temple feels the shift, like music she's been waiting to hear. She rings the sacred bell that calls the community to celebration, its bronze voice carrying across the water to announce that the season of shadows is drawing to a close. But this is not a celebration of triumph over adversity. Rather, it's a recognition of completion, of cycles fulfilled, of the deep wisdom that creates meaning from both difficulty and ease. The people who gather in response to the bell's call understand they are marking not just return, but transformation, not just renewal, but deeper understanding. Imagine the Nile moving quietly by, carrying the gifts of both seasons, the lessons learned in scarcity, enriching the abundance that returns. In the village markets, vendors begin to appear with produce from gardens that seemed barren only days before. Not yet the full abundance of flood season, but the first fruits of renewal. Tender lettuce leaves, small onions, herbs that grew overnight in soil suddenly receptive to growth. The exchange of goods becomes ceremonial, each transaction a small celebration of community and connection. A baker trades fresh bread for vegetables, both parties understanding they're participating in something larger than simple commerce. They're acknowledging interdependence, the web of relationships that makes abundance possible. Children run between the stalls, their laughter brighter than it's been in months. They carry messages and small gifts, their energy freed now that the waiting is over, now that the natural order is reasserting itself in ways they can feel, even if they can't fully explain. Let the quiet carry you into the space where renewal happens gradually, gently, like morning coming after the longest night. Craftsmen emerge from their workshops with creations that reflect both the austerity of the lean season and the promise of abundance to come. A potter displays vessels with clean, elegant lines that speak of careful use of limited clay. A weaver shows cloth that combines simple patterns with rich colors, demonstrating how beauty persists regardless of circumstances. These works of art carry the story of the people who made them, the tale of patience and faith that allowed creativity to flourish even when resources were scarce. They will be treasured not just for their beauty, but for their testimony to the human capacity to create meaning from any circumstances. Artists who spent the dark season developing new techniques now find their innovations perfectly suited to expressing the complex emotions of renewal. A sculptor carves stone with methods that seem to release light from within the rock itself. A musician composes melodies that capture both the solemnity of waiting and the joy of return. Float like a leaf on calm water, trusting in the currents that carry you toward your own perfect unfolding. In the healing temples, patients who had grown weak during the season of scarcity begin to show signs of renewed vitality, not through any dramatic intervention, but through the subtle influence of hope restored, of faith vindicated, of the body's natural healing mechanisms reinvigorated by the spirit's renewal. Healers work with renewed confidence, their remedies more effective now that they can be offered in an atmosphere of possibility rather than resignation. The herbs seem more potent, the oils more fragrant, the very air in the healing chambers charged with potential for recovery and growth. An elderly man who had struggled through the lean months sits up in his bed, his eyes bright with wonder as he feels strength returning to his limbs. It's not just the medicine, he tells his healer. It's the hope. I can feel it in the air, in the water, in the ground beneath us. Everything is waking up again. Feel the earth holding you, steady and nurturing beneath your resting form, demonstrating the security that underlies all changes. The sacred island where Isis and Osiris reunited becomes a place of pilgrimage, not through any official decree, but through the natural impulse of hearts that recognize holy ground when they encounter it. Visitors come not to ask for miracles, but to remember that love persists, that patience is rewarded, that what seems broken can be made whole again. They'll leave small offerings, flowers picked from newly flourishing gardens, stones polished smooth by the river's flow, drawings made by children whose artwork captures truths too deep for adult words. These gifts accumulate around the simple altar, creating a mosaic of gratitude that grows more beautiful with each addition. The island's trees respond to this renewed attention by producing fruit out of season, sweet dates and figs that visitors share with wonder and delight. Even the birds seem to understand the significance of this place, gathering in unusual numbers to add their song to the atmosphere of celebration. Rest in the rhythm of your breath, feeling how each cycle draws you deeper into the peace that comes with restored harmony. As word of the renewal spreads along the river, communities prepare for the return of abundance, not with frantic activity, but with thoughtful readiness. Fields are cleared and prepared with ceremony, as well as practical skill. Irrigation channels are cleaned and blessed, made ready to carry life-giving water to every corner of the cultivated land. The work itself becomes a form of meditation, each task performed with the care that comes from understanding its importance. In the larger pattern, farmers move slowly but steadily, their actions synchronized with the river's gradual rise, their timing aligned with forces larger than individual will. Families gather in the evenings to plan for the planting season, but their discussions have a different quality now. They speak not just of practical concerns, but of gratitude for lessons learned during the lean months, of appreciation for neighbors who shared resources, of recognition that abundance means more than material plenty. Let yourself sink deeper into the understanding that true renewal happens from the inside out, beginning in the heart and spreading gradually to transform everything it touches. In the temple workshops, scribes work to record the wisdom gained during the season of shadows, understanding that future generations will face their own times of testing and will need the encouragement that comes from knowing others have walked similar paths and emerged stronger. Their reed pens move carefully across papyrus scrolls, creating documents that will outlast their makers, preserving not just events but insights, not just facts but understanding. They write of the difference between scarcity and poverty, between waiting and giving up, between hope and wishful thinking. One scribe pauses in his work, looking out through the workshop window at the river that flows with increasing fullness past the temple walls. How do we capture in words what can only be lived? He wonders aloud. His companion smiles and continues writing, understanding that the attempt itself is sacred, that the effort to preserve wisdom is as important as the wisdom itself. As the day advances, the renewal becomes more visible, but no less gentle. Flowers that had hidden their buds through the lean season begin to open, adding color to landscapes that had been painted only in browns and pale greens. The change is gradual enough to savor, quick enough to inspire hope. This is the miracle of natural timing, of changes that happen neither too fast nor too slow, but at exactly the pace that allows for integration, appreciation, and sustainable growth. The reunion of Isis and Osiris represents not just the return of abundance, but the restoration of balance, the healing of the artificial separation between spiritual and practical, sacred and ordinary. In this gentle renewal, every soul that lives along the great river finds their own capacity for regeneration awakened, their own ability to begin again, refreshed and ready for whatever gifts the returning season might bring. Now, as the gentle renewal flows through the land like honey spreading through warm bread, Isis and Osiris turn their attention to you. Dear traveler who has journeyed with them through shadow and return, in the soft light of evening, they offer their deepest gifts, the blessings of rest, protection, and peaceful dreams. Breathe slowly. Let their ancient wisdom settle into your bones like warmth from a perfect fire. Picture yourself in the sacred grove on the island where reunion took place. The sycamore trees form a natural temple around you, their leaves rustling with whispers of comfort and care. The altar stones, still warm from the day's sun, radiate a gentle heat that seems to come from within the earth itself. Isis approaches, her footsteps silent on the soft grass. In her hands, she carries a small clay lamp, its flame dancing steadily in the evening breeze. The light it casts is neither harsh nor dim, but perfectly suited for the transition between day and night, between waking consciousness and the deeper wisdom that comes through dreams. A child of the river, she says in a voice like water over smooth stones. You have walked with us through the season of shadows and witnessed the return of light. Now receive the blessing that belongs to all who choose patience over panic, trust over fear. Let your shoulders drop. Feel the tension of the day flowing away like water returning to the river. She touches the lamp's flame to your forehead, and instantly you feel a warmth that has nothing to do with the physical fire. This is the warmth of being truly seen, completely accepted, unconditionally loved. It spreads through your body like golden honey, melting away every trace of worry or restlessness. I bless you with the gift of healing sleep. Isis whispers, may your rest be deep as the river's source, peaceful as lotus floating on still water. May every hour of darkness restore what daylight has depleted, renew what has grown weary, heal what has been wounded. Her blessing carries the authority of one who has tended the sick through countless nights, who has sat beside troubled sleepers and sung lullabies that chased away nightmares. You feel yourself already beginning to sink into the peace she offers, your breathing naturally slowing to match the rhythm of her gentle words. Rest in the rhythm of your breath, feeling how each exhale releases what you no longer need. Each inhale draws in pure tranquility. Osiris steps forward from the shadows between the trees, his presence as solid and reassuring as bedrock beneath rich soil. He carries no lamp or visible token, for his blessing is the gift of the earth itself, the promise of ground that will never shift beneath your feet, of foundations that will hold firm through any storm. Beloved child, he says, his voice deep as roots reaching toward underground springs. You have learned the lesson of seasons, the wisdom of cycles that turn in their own time. Now receive the blessing of steady ground, of rest that comes not from exhaustion, but from the deep satisfaction of alignment with natural law. He places his hands on your shoulders, and you feel yourself rooted like a great tree, your spirit extending deep into earth that has supported countless generations before you and will support countless more to come. This is not the heaviness of burden, but the wonderful weight of belonging, of being part of something infinitely larger and more enduring than individual concerns. Feel your eyes grow heavy, like seeds settling into perfectly prepared soil, ready to rest until the proper season for growth. Together, Isis and Osiris create a circle of protection around your resting place. Their combined presence forms an invisible sanctuary where no harsh thoughts can penetrate, no anxious dreams disturb, no restless energies interrupt the natural process of restoration that happens when the soul feels completely safe. Sleep now, they say in unison, their voices blending like harmonies that have sung together since the beginning of time. Sleep in the certainty that you are held by forces more ancient than mountains, more reliable than the stars in their courses. Sleep, knowing that your rest serves not just yourself, but the great web of life that connects all beings. The blessing they offer is not just for tonight's sleep, but for all the nights to come, a permanent gift that you can call upon whenever rest seems elusive or peace feels distant. It becomes part of you like breath or heartbeat, an inner sanctuary you can access simply by remembering this moment of grace. Imagine the Nile moving quietly by, carrying away all your troubles on its eternal current, leaving only peace in its wake. Around the sacred island, the night sounds begin their gentle chorus. Water laps softly against the sandy shore, a rhythm so steady it seems like the earth's own pulse made audible. Night birds call to each other across the water, their voices weaving melodies that speak of safety and home. A gentle breeze stirs the sycamore leaves overhead, creating a natural ceiling of whispered lullabies. The sound is infinitely soothing, like the voices of all the mothers who have ever sung their children to sleep, all the lovers who have murmured comfort in the darkness, all the healers who have kept watch through the difficult hours before dawn. The oil lamp in Isis's hands continues to burn with its steady flame, a beacon that will remain lit throughout the night and beyond. Its light becomes a promise that no matter how deep your sleep, no matter how far you travel in dreams, there will always be a guiding light to help you find your way back to peace. Let the quiet carry you into the deep well of rest where healing happens without effort, where restoration occurs simply through surrender. From somewhere in the darkness comes the soft sound of a reed flute, played by an unseen musician who understands the sacred art of lullaby. The melody is ancient beyond memory, a tune that has soothed countless souls through countless nights, carrying the accumulated comfort of all who have ever found peace in its gentle progression. The music seems to rise from the water itself, from the earth beneath your resting place, from the very air that surrounds you with its warm embrace. It speaks without words of journeys completed, of love that endures all separation, of rest that restores everything that seemed lost. Children in the villages along the riverbank hear the distant music and smile in their sleep, their dreams touched by the same blessing that surrounds you now. Elders lying on their simple beds feel their breathing deepen and their hearts slow to the rhythm of perfect contentment. Float like a leaf on calm water, carried by currents that know exactly where they're going, even when you cannot see the destination. The stars overhead arrange themselves into patterns of protection, ancient constellations that have watched over sleepers since humans first learned to find comfort in darkness. Each point of light becomes a guardian, a gentle eye keeping watch while you rest, ensuring that your journey into sleep is safe and your return to waking equally peaceful. The Milky Way stretches across the sky like a river of light, a celestial reflection of the earthly Nile that has carried you through this gentle story. The two rivers, one of water and one of stars, create a perfect circle of protection that holds you suspended between earth and heaven, between the known and the mysterious. Isis tends the flame that burns for all sleepers, adjusting its brightness to match the depth of your rest. When you drift into lighter sleep, the flame glows softly, a gentle presence at the edge of consciousness. When you sink into the deepest restoration, it dims to barely a whisper, honoring the profound work that happens in the darkness beyond dreams. Feel the earth holding you, solid and eternal beneath your relaxing form, demonstrating the unshakable foundation that supports all rest. Osiris walks quietly around the perimeter of your resting place, his footsteps marking out a boundary that nothing harmful can cross. His presence creates a zone of absolute safety, a space where the natural processes of healing and renewal can proceed without interference from the world's concerns. With each step, he plants invisible seeds of peace that will bloom in your dreams and bear fruit in your waking hours. These gifts of the earth spirit, patience, endurance, trust in natural timing, settle into your sleeping consciousness like nutrients absorbed by roots that know instinctively how to transform what they receive into growth and strength. So a blessing he offers is the deep peace that comes from understanding your place in the great cycles, the comfort that flows from accepting the wisdom of seasons, the rest that arrives when you stop fighting against the natural rhythms that govern all life. Rest in the rhythm of your breath, each cycle drawing you deeper into the mystery, where sleep transforms fatigue into vitality, confusion into clarity. In the temple courtyards scattered along the river, night shift priests tend their eternal flames and offer prayers for all who seek the blessing of restorative sleep. Their voices join in a distant chorus of care, adding their intentions to the protective energy that surrounds your resting place. They understand their role as guardians of the night, keepers of the sacred space between sunset and dawn. When souls travel to the places where healing happens, their vigil ensures that the light of consciousness never fails completely, that there is always a way back from the deepest rest to gentle awakening. These faithful watchers ask nothing for their service except the knowledge that their care makes a difference, that their attention helps maintain the invisible network of love and protection that cradles all sleeping beings. They are Isis and Osiris in human form, demonstrating through their patient devotion the divine commitment to blessing every soul with the gift of peace. Let yourself sink deeper into the understanding that you are held by love too vast to measure, cared for by wisdom too ancient to doubt. The lotus flowers in the temple ponds release their fragrance more intensely in the darkness, their perfume mixing with the night air to create a natural incense that promotes the deepest kind of rest. Each breath you take carries this blessing into your body, where it works its gentle magic on every cell, every nerve, every tired muscle. This is aromatherapy as the ancients understood it, not just pleasant scent, but actual medicine, molecules of peace entering through breath and bloodstream to restore balance from the inside out. The lotus knows the secret of emerging from mud into beauty, and it shares that wisdom with all who rest in its presence. The flowers themselves seem to pulse with a gentle light, like stars that have fallen into water and learned to bloom. Their illumination adds to the soft radiance that fills your sanctuary, creating a glow that comes not from any external source, but from the accumulated blessings of Isis and Osiris made visible. Feel your breathing slow and deepen, like the earth itself settling into the profound rest that allows renewal to happen without effort or strain. As your consciousness gently releases its hold on the events of the day, on the concerns of tomorrow, on the endless stream of thoughts that usually occupy the mind, you become aware of a deeper rhythm, a pulse that connects you to every living thing that has ever sought rest in the embrace of loving darkness. This is the heartbeat of the universe itself, steady and reliable as the rivers flow, ancient and eternal as the movement of stars across the night sky. By aligning your own rhythm with this greater pulse, you enter into a state of rest so profound that healing happens automatically. Renewal occurs without conscious effort. In this blessed state, you join the eternal community of all who have ever found peace in the protection of Isis and Osiris, all who have ever experienced the miracle of waking refreshed after truly restorative sleep. You become part of a vast network of souls who know the secret of surrendering to rest with complete trust. The night embraces you with infinite tenderness, and in that embrace, every blessing that has been offered through this gentle journey takes root in your being, ensuring that the gifts of the sacred river will flow through your dreams and into your waking life with the certainty of dawn following darkness. Now, in this final hour of our gentle journey, let yourself drift into the deepest peace that the sacred river can offer. The story of Isis and Osiris becomes your own story now, their ancient wisdom flowing through your dreams like the Nile, itself eternal and life-giving. Breathe slowly, each breath slower and deeper than the last, like the river finding its way to the sea. The oil lamp beside you burns lower now, its flame growing softer with each passing moment. But this is not darkness approaching. It is the gentle dimming that comes when light transforms from something seen to something felt, from external illumination to inner radiance that need no fuel, but love itself. Isis sits beside your resting place, her presence as constant as starlight, as reliable as the earth beneath your relaxing form. Her hand rests lightly on your forehead, and through that gentle touch flows the accumulated blessing of every mother who has ever watched over a sleeping child, every healer who has tended the sick through the long night hours. Rest now, beloved, she whispers, her voice growing softer still, like wind through papyrus reeds, like water over smooth stones, worn gentle by countless seasons. Let the river of sleep carry you to places where healing flows like honey, where peace is as natural as breathing. Let your shoulders drop completely. Feel every muscle in your body softening like clay warmed by caring hands. Osiris stands at the edge of your vision, his form growing more translucent as sleep approaches, not disappearing, but merging with the very ground that supports you, becoming one with the steady earth that holds all sleeping things in its infinite embrace. His blessing settles into your bones like nutrients absorbed by deep roots, strengthening you from within, ensuring that your rest will restore not just your body, but your faith in the natural order that governs all things with such patient wisdom. Sleep in the certainty of cycles. His voice echoes from deep within the earth itself, knowing that every ending births a new beginning. Every night promises another dawn. Every season of rest prepares for fresh growth. Feel your eyes growing heavier, like lotus petals closing as twilight deepens into the velvet darkness of true night. The The sounds around you grow more distant and dreamlike. The river's gentle lapping becomes the rhythm of your own heartbeat. The night bird's calls transform into lullabies that seem to come from inside your own chest. The whisper of wind through leaves becomes the sound of your own breathing, deep and peaceful and perfectly synchronized with the pulse of sleep approaching. Even these gentle sounds begin to fade now, not into silence, but into something deeper than silence. The profound quiet that exists at the center of all things. The stillness from which all movement arises, and to which all movement eventually returns. Rest in the rhythm of your breath, letting each exhale carry you further from the waking world, each inhale drawing you deeper into the mystery of regenerative sleep. The sacred island itself seems to be drifting now, floating like a dream upon the dark water of night. You feel yourself carried along with it, cradled in safety so complete that surrender becomes as natural as floating, as effortless as sinking into the embrace of perfect love. Time loses all meaning here in this place between waking and sleeping, between the story just told and the dreams about to unfold. Minutes might be hours, hours might be centuries. It matters not at all, for you have entered the realm where healing happens according to its own perfect timing. The stars above grow brighter as your earthly vision dims, their light no longer reaching your physical eyes, but illuminating something deeper, the inner landscape where souls go to remember their true nature, to drink from wells of wisdom that never run dry. Imagine the Nile flowing on and on, carrying your worries away to the sea, leaving your spirit as clean and clear as morning water. The presence of Isis and Osiris doesn't fade, but rather expands, becoming less personal and more universal, less like individual beings and more like the very forces of love and renewal that move through all existence. They are in your breathing now, in your heartbeat, in the gentle current that carries you toward the deepest rest. Their story continues in you, their wisdom flowing through your dreams, their peace settling into every cell of your being, like blessing made manifest in flesh and blood and sleeping consciousness. You understand now, without words or thoughts, that this has always been your story too. The journey from abundance through testing into renewed appreciation, from separation through patient seeking into joyful reunion, from weariness through surrender into the kind of rest that heals everything it touches. Let the quiet carry you into the vast silence where all stories converge, where all souls find the peace they seek. The oil lamp's flame grows smaller now, a tiny point of light in the growing vastness of sleep. But as it dims, you realize that the light is not going out. It is moving inside you, becoming part of your inner illumination, ensuring that even in the deepest dreams, you will never be truly lost. This inner light will guide you through whatever landscapes sleep may reveal, will remind you of the safety that surrounds you always, will bring you home to waking with the gifts that only truly restorative rest can provide. The flame becomes a star. The star becomes a memory. The memory becomes a feeling that will remain with you always. The knowing that you are held by love that neither sleeps nor wakes, but simply is, eternal and unchanging as the river itself. Float like a leaf on calm water, trusting completely in the current that carries all things to their perfect destination. Now, the boundaries between your body and the soft earth beneath you begin to dissolve. You sink not through the ground, but into harmony with it, becoming one with the patient stones, the nurturing soil, the underground streams that flow in darkness toward their reunion with the great river. Your breathing slows to match the earth's own rhythm, deep and steady as continental drift, as reliable as gravity itself. Each breath connects you more fully to the vast network of sleeping things. Every tree resting in winter soil, every seed dreaming of spring, every creature that has ever found peace in darkness. This is the deepest teaching of Isis and Osiris, that rest is not emptiness, but fullness, not absence, but presence of the most profound kind. In sleep, you join the great community of renewal, the cosmic process that turns exhaustion into energy, confusion into clarity, fear into faith. Feel the earth holding you so completely that you cannot tell where your body ends and the ground begins, so gently that support feels like floating on clouds. The last conscious thoughts drift away like boats disappearing around a river bend. Concerns about tomorrow, memories of yesterday, even awareness of this present moment, all fade into the background hum of a mind settling into the deepest restoration. What remains is pure being, consciousness without content, awareness without object, the essential you that exists before thought and after sleep, the eternal witness that watches all experiences but is changed by none, the immortal soul that knows itself as part of the endless river of life. In this state beyond ordinary sleep, healing happens on levels too deep for waking consciousness to detect. Old wounds close, worn patterns dissolve, fresh possibilities take root in soil prepared by perfect rest. Let yourself sink deeper and deeper into the place where miracles are commonplace, where every moment of true rest is a small resurrection. The river of sleep carries you now beyond all shores of ordinary experience. You float in depths where ancient wisdoms dwell, where the teaching stories of Isis and Osiris continue their work of transformation in realms too subtle for words. Here, in this place beyond place, you meet the eternal versions of yourself, the one who has never been wounded, the one who remembers perfect love, the one who knows without doubt that all separations are temporary, all losses are illusions, all sleeps are preparations for more beautiful awakenings. These deeper selves surround your sleeping consciousness with the same love that Isis and Osiris have shown throughout this gentle journey. They sing you lullabies in languages older than words, rock you in arms more tender than any earthly embrace. Rest in the rhythm of your breath, so slow now it barely seems like breathing, more like the whisper of life itself, moving through you. Time becomes irrelevant in this deep rest. Whether you sleep for minutes or hours matters not at all, for in this space beyond time, every moment of true rest contains eternity. Every breath of peace holds infinite renewal. The healing that happens here is complete, not just for tonight's tiredness, but for fatigue accumulated across days and weeks and years. Not just for today's worries, but for anxieties that have nested in your heart like birds in need of new homes. When you eventually return to waking, naturally, gently, in perfect timing, you will bring back gifts from this deep rest. Clarity, like morning light on clear water. Strength like trees rooted in rich earth. Peace like the river itself in its most tranquil moments. Feel your breathing become so gentle, like the barely perceptible rise and fall of still water, touched by the softest breeze. The story of Isis and Osiris completes itself now in your own perfect rest. Their journey from abundance through trial to renewal becomes your journey from weariness through surrender to restoration. Their love that endures all separation becomes your own unshakable connection to the source of all peace. As consciousness finally releases its last gentle hold on the waking world, you join the eternal river of souls who have found true rest in the embrace of infinite love. You become part of the continuing story, the endless cycle of sleep and waking, death and rebirth, forgetting and remembering that keeps the universe itself renewed. Sleep now in perfect safety, held by the same forces that keep stars in their courses and rivers flowing toward the sea. Sleep in the certainty that when you wake, the light of Isis will still be burning. The ground of Osiris will still be holding you, and the river of life will still be carrying you toward destinations more beautiful than dreams. Let the gentle current of deepest sleep carry you now, beyond all shores, beyond all stories, beyond all need for anything but this, the perfect rest that heals all things, the profound peace that surpasses understanding, the eternal love that holds all souls in its infinite, tender embrace. Sleep